I know exactly who you could be. Just hold on, we're going home. Just hold on, we're going home. It's hard to do these things alone. Just hold on, we're going home.
Welcome to the first ever evening edition of Rookies Roundup. This Saturday evening marks the 9th show of Rookies Roundup. I'm your host, Jake Leiker, aka Rookie, and it is currently 4:10 p.m. here in LA, which means we are showing some love to the East Coast, because tonight's show is going to be so good that everybody deserves to listen in live. And speaking of listening live, we got some announcements to make before we start the show. Now, I don't like to start the show on a sad note, but it does sort of demand our attention. It's been a tragic week. We've seen a shooting at Navy Yard in Washington, D.C. Earlier this morning, there was a terrorist attack took place in a mall in Kenya. They're hostages. It's just horrible. So our thoughts and prayers are with all of those who are affected by these tragic events, and we are thankful for our safety and those who protect that safety. So now, moving on to the sports world. Or the Rookies Roundup world, anyway. Last week was a weird week. We had some technical difficulties and delays and all that. In Sunday's episode, we actually lost one guest because he lives in Seattle and the lightning shut down his cell service for a little while or something. Anyway, during the broadcast, I noticed that the network connection was going in and out, and it turns out we had a 5-minute section of dead air. And, of course, that happened during the most heated debate of the show regarding the Chiefs, so we apologize with that. Clear skies today, though. And our first brand new guest actually is local, so we shouldn't have that problem again. With the technical difficulties, however, and the late starts and school starting, Rookies Roundup ratings are dropping faster than Blaine Gabbert's QB rating. So from episode 4 to episode 8, respectively, we've gotten 116 to 101 to 86 to 83 to 55 plays. Now, guys, it's probably tougher to find time to listen in and comment these days, but keep listening. Talk about the show. Tell your friends, your family, enemies, frenemies, janitor, anybody. Also, social media chatter doesn't hurt, but we're reasonable here at Rookies Roundup. We don't expect you to listen to the entire show for over an hour. So we're bringing something back from the last time we had 100 plays in an episode, and that was episode 5. Throughout this broadcast, I will go back to keeping track of when each segment or discussion begins. After the show, I will put down how long into the broadcast each segment starts in the description box, so you can fast forward to the segments you want to hear. The whole show is great, though. You should really listen to it as much as you can. But again, if you can't, every listener counts. Just click that play button as much as you can. Also, since we've been around for a while now, hopefully doing our 10th show in less than 40 days tomorrow night, Rookies Roundup is going to be creating a Facebook page, so look out for that sometime during the next 24 hours. For this episode, we got the early start. I'm going to a UCLA football game tonight. We're playing New Mexico State. That should be an easy win. Hopefully I don't jinx it. On this episode, we've got a brand new guest. We have Week 3 picks, debates, and analysis, fantasy tips, and more. We're going to talk some college football. We're bringing back Rookies Rant. Hopefully, if we have time, we'll be bringing back Rookies Rant. And, of course, on every episode of Rookies Roundup, we'll have the MVP Award, the Facepalm Award, and our sympathy vote. Of course, everyone's got opinions and predictions, so if you want yours to be heard, please call into the show. I promise I won't bite. 310-922-9536. That's 310-922-9536. If you're not listening to the show live, but still have a question or just something to say, write into the comment section below, and I will answer on the next show. Of course, Rookies Roundup is part of the National Sports Family on Spreaker.com. The National Sports Family hit another milestone this week. We have now reached over 400 hours of broadcasting and over 40,000 plays, which is huge for us. Everybody on the channel really cares about doing these shows, and the fact that so many people are tuning in is incredible. And of course, since National Sports is a family, we help each other out. I helped out Carl Moglan with another episode of College Football on Air. Great show. You should check that out. We've also had more going on the channel. We've got some volleyball, water polo, and football broadcasts, and another edition of In the Paint with Cameron and Jordan, and much, much more. There's always something going on in national sports that you won't want to miss. To keep up with all of our pure awesomeness, like us on Facebook at our page National Sports, follow us on Twitter at allcapsnationalsports1, and for our hipster listeners, check out our Instagram page at national_sports, because we have hashtag no filter. Now let's get right to it. College football update. not the greatest week of college football action, but there's always something going on when we're talking about football. Thursday night, we saw number 3 Clemson face North Carolina State. The Tigers, led by Taj Boyd, were able to get the W. Things got heated during that game. There were some punches thrown. I believe the defensive tackle for Clemson was ejected. But I gotta say, if this was a boxing match, that was a pretty impressive undercut. Almost as impressive as the win. Martavis Bryant catches 6 passes for 73 yards, 2 TDs. Clemson defeats North Carolina State in the ACC opener. Taj Boyd, 244 yards, 3 TDs. Tigers 26, Wolfpack 14. Washington and Idaho State, because that's literally how bad the football games are this weekend. We're going to Washington, Idaho State. 17th ranked Huskies beat the Idaho State Bengals 56-0. A huge win for the Huskies. It was never even close. Quarterback Price, 16 21, 213 yards, 3 TDs. Big win for Washington in Husky Stadium in Seattle, Washington. Moving right along, Fresno State and Boise State. We had a big argument about this on College Football On Air. This was quite an interesting one. It did not disappoint. You don't need ranked teams to have a great game, and boy, did the Bulldogs and the Broncos prove that to us. Fresno State won a thriller 41-40, breaking a 7-game losing streak against the Broncos. Quarterback Derek Carr threw for 460 yards and 4 touchdowns. Fresno State will stay undefeated. After that touchdown with 2:14 to go, they'd hold on 41-40. Ohio State and Florida A&M. Another huge win for a ranked team. Not even close. What a surprise. How about 76-0? The Buckeyes defeat the Rattlers, including 34 points in the first quarter alone and 55 in the first half. Deaton, the quarterback in for Braxton Miller, threw for 6 touchdowns today. Louisville and FIU, another dominant performance from a ranked team. The Cardinals, led by Teddy Bridgewater, defeated the Florida International Golden Panthers 72-0. A lot of shutouts today. Ranked teams really flexing their muscles. It was quite a day, again, for Bridgewater. 4 TDs, 212 yards, 17-22. USC and Utah State. The Trojans have been struggling as of late, hoping to turn that around, though, against the Utah State Aggies. And they did. Barely. 17-14, the Trojans held on. It was down to the wire, but a field goal early in the fourth quarter was enough for the Trojans to hold on 17-14. Duke and Pittsburgh, again, 2 unranked teams, but still good teams and a great game. A classic shootout between the two ended in what looked more like a basketball score. 58-55. Pittsburgh wins in a game that went back and forth. Duke scored 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. It was not enough to come back from trailing 51-28. They fall 58-55. And lastly, we got Notre Dame and Michigan State. The Fighting Irish, again, win by not much, but a W is a W. Final score, Fighting Irish 17, Spartans 13, in what we all expected to be a defensive battle. Indeed, it was. Both quarterbacks only threw for 1 touchdown. And that, there you have it, is our college football update. We'll be trying to give you some more throughout the show. And if anyone's going to the UCLA game tonight, I will be there in the City of Roses. Now, we get to bring something back that I'd missed because I liked doing it, and so we get to bring it back. It's time for Rookies Rant. Now, those of you who listen to the show know that I live in LA, and I am a big Los Angeles Dodgers fan. However, I'm not a fan of what they did against the Arizona Diamondbacks, and a lot of people are defending it, and I completely disagree. So for those of you who don't know, the Dodgers were the first team in the MLB to clinch a playoff spot this season. They won in Arizona. There's been bad blood between these two teams all year, and you know they have a pool over in Chase Field where the Diamondbacks play. When the Dodgers captured the NL West, despite being told not to party on the field after the game to celebrate, they ran across the field and jumped into the pool in right field. I found this classless and tasteless because I know if I was a Dodger fan, If they came onto our field and celebrated like that after we told them not to, I would be pissed. Really didn't like this at all. Did they earn a celebration? Yes, but not like this. I absolutely hated it. It made me ashamed to be a Dodger fan. It's so classless, you know? You have to start holding yourself to a higher standard when you are playing at a higher standard. Don't celebrate when you win the division like that. Pretend like you're used to it. Yeah, the announcer that specifically asked not to celebrate outside. Just no class, however. No class. I mean, the Dodgers should get their own pool. I mean, Dodger Stadium's kind of turning into a dump. Yeah, it's a nice place, but still, like, it's old. It could use remodeling, but I don't like it at all. Just tasteless. You've won the division. Don't do that. Just don't, okay? You've proved your point. You beat them. You won the division. Point taken. You'll have a pool party back in LA. Weather's probably much nicer there anyway. You don't have to party in 100-degree weather. Although there was one thing a Dodger player said that I did appreciate. So even Senator John McCain got into the action. Over Twitter, he was less than pleased with what happened in Arizona. And Brian Wilson had some select words for him after. Just pulling up the tweet here because this was something unusual. You don't see politicians really get into things like this. Anyway, yes, the Arizona senator called the Dodgers over Twitter, according to the Sun Sentinel. He tweeted that it was, quote, no class act by a bunch of overpaid, immature, arrogant, spoiled brats. The hashtag Dodgers are idiots. Clearly, John McCain is a big fan of his Arizona Diamondbacks, and anyone who gets between him and his team is going to have to feel the so-called wrath of a 70-year-old senator or something. And Brian Wilson's response, however, was absolutely fantastic and really shut him up. So after the quote from John McCain, this is from NBCSports.com, Wilson tweeted back, Senator McComplain knows a thing or two about coming in second and watching someone take a plunge in the pool. In parentheses, I mean poll. Hashtag politics. So big shout out to John McCain, to Brian Wilson. He would have gotten the MVP award tonight, if not for something else that we will get to later in the end of the show. So good job for Brian Wilson to stick up to the team. Congratulations to the Dodgers for making it to the playoffs, but celebrate at home, not in the visiting team's turf. It was a short one, but it was a sweet one. That was Rookie's Rant. Hopefully we'll be able to do that more often as stuff like this happens. I mean, be respectful, you know? Show some class, pretend like you know what it's like to be there. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we are going to bring in a brand new guest so we can start talking about the Week 3 of the NFL. It's quite an interesting one. I'm coming off a hot streak, 13-3. Will I be on the money again? Ooh, I don't know. I've got some risky picks. Find them out after the break. We'll be right back.
Your presentation of national sports is brought to you by Spreaker.com. Broadcast and listen to news, radio, and music with one low monthly rate. Your show will be right back after this word from the local stations.
Sorry about those technical difficulties over the break. Well, now it's time to get back to the NFL. And we're going to welcome in a first-time guest to the show. He's a dear, dear friend of mine who shares the affinity of Stephen A. Smith with me. He's an Eagles fan. He's been having a tough week, so go easy on him. Dario Madjun, how you doing?
Good. How are you, Jay?
I am very good, especially since I picked the Chiefs to win. And speaking of picks, just so people know that I know what I'm talking about, I do feel obliged to tell what I did last week. The spread, not too good. I went 7-9 in the spread, but I did tie a personal record, 13-3 last week. And I'm already off to a 1-0 start in both of these. Although Dario's a big fantasy football guy, that's what matters the most to him. And he will not be pleased.
What kind of start are you off to in that league?
In that league. Okay, in the stool league, listen, I had to go up against Rodgers in the second week when he threw for 480 yards. And the first week I had to go up against you and Peyton Manning, who threw for 7 TDs. I can't win like that. Overall, I got actually like 5 fantasy teams or something last week. They went 2-3. But this is a pick'em special with some fantasy tips on the side. So, first, let's just do a little recap of what happened on Thursday night. The Eagles played the Chiefs. They honored Donovan Nab during the game in Philadelphia. It surprised some people, not including myself. What did you think of Kansas City's win over Philadelphia?
I don't view it as much as Kansas City's win over Philadelphia as Philadelphia's loss to Kansas City. I think they just turned over the ball way too many times, and it was really their game to lose, I guess.
I don't know, you're coming off a little bitter here. I mean, let's say Jamal Charles did run for 172 yards and a touchdown.
I mean, that's to be expected when you're going up against the Eagles, but the game, had they not turned it over just that many times, it would have been a much closer game.
Dario, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Welcome to the world of sports.
Well, you asked me what my opinion was on the game.
That doesn't mean I have to like it, Dario.
Right.
And speaking of opinions, it's time for our first debate.
Yes.
The Kansas City Chiefs, believe it or not, are off to a 3-0 start. An offensive triple threat of Jamal Charles, Alex Smith, and Dwayne Bowe, and a defense that's not looking too shabby either.
Yeah.
Are the Kansas City Chiefs for real?
They are for real, but not. They'll be a wild card team, and I think they might get bounced in the first round, but I think they will make the playoffs largely because the AFC is just a far weaker division than the NFC. I can see them going like 10-6.
Yeah, I saw that too. I said I think 11-5, and had them go to the AFC Championship game.
Oh wow!
Here's why.
Who would they beat on their way?
Again, I gotta check back. I think this was the 6th episode.
I don't think they can beat a team. They can beat the Colts if the Colts end up making it.
Colts are not making it. I still don't think the Colts are making it. I've had them. The Chiefs are so good at home that if they play well enough in the regular season and can play just one home game in the playoffs, it's an automatic win. That's how good they are, if you ask me.
Yeah, but they need to make two. They need to win 2 games to make it to the AFC Championship game. They're not winning that division.
The Chiefs could beat the Dolphins. The Chiefs could beat the Texans, and the Chiefs could, and the Chiefs could absolutely defeat the Broncos in Denver during the playoffs. Why?
Wait! Don't get disrespectful. Don't be disrespectful.
You know, a 9-11 record in the playoffs earns disrespect. We saw what Denver did last year. If their defense is anything like that,
stop.
I'm just throwing
this is a very different Broncos team. This is possibly the best offensive team I've seen in a long time, and it's by far the best offensive team in the league right now.
Okay. Does offense win championships, No. Defense wins championships. Clutch wins championships. The Broncos might be better than the Chiefs. That doesn't mean they can beat them. The New York Giants were not the best team in the league when they won the Super Bowl. But they were the
Don't talk about
champions
the New York Giants.
because they
Not
could
the-
come through in the clutch. I don't like talking about the Giants. They bounced my Packers in both those years. But they proved that they can come through in the clutch, and the Denver Broncos and Peyton Manning have yet to do that, except for when he won Super Bowl 40, but that was against Rex Grossman, so it doesn't count.
It doesn't count.
Okay, it counts. It counts.
Then if that doesn't count, then neither does the Giants' first Super Bowl when Eli Manning just tosses it up and it happens to fall into whoever he was, his face mask.
Bubble
on his helmet.
David Tyree had bubble gum on the helmet, okay? He pulled it down. You know, it's like saying if you win 3 flags up, it's a game of luck. Whatever. We got to move on.
Yes.
We're in for a lot of disagreeing, I have a feeling, over the next half hour or so. I have a feeling we're going to start off right now with that. The Rams play the Cowboys tomorrow. Now, you know, ESPN Insider has those stats from Team Rankings and Number Fire, provides all those algorithms and whatnot. I used those last week. I do plan on using them again.
Are you an ESPN Insider?
I am an ESPN Insider.
And you're still 2-0? I'm not even an ESPN Insider, and I am 2-0. You're 0-2, and I'm 2-0, and I lack ESPN Insider.
A 6-team...
I had
to go get Peyton Manning, Week 1, Aaron Rodgers, Week 2. Tell me you would have beaten that. I am
Peyton Manning Week 1. So.
Alright. Well, already we're looking at Team Rankings and Number Fire disagree. By the way, they give tenths of points. I just round to the nearest whole number. Team Rankings has Dallas winning 24-21, and I can't really use a whole number here. St. Louis 23.3, Dallas 22.9, according to Number File. Who is winning this game, Dario?
I think at the end of the day, this game is going to be won by the Dallas Cowboys. That are an accident waiting to happen, but I think that this Rams offense, this passing offense, is just too weak, and the running game isn't very strong either. With Steven Jackson gone in Atlanta, I just don't think they have the offensive capabilities to put up points against a decent Dallas defense.
We're talking about the same St. Louis that put up a serious fight against Atlanta in the Georgia Dome on the home opener. That was a 7-point game.
Yes.
This is the Rams team who I know it was the Cardinals, but it was still an impressive 13-point cutback in the fourth quarter. And then you look at the Dallas Cowboys, who you said it yourself are an accident waiting to happen. I don't know if this is more of me thinking that Dallas is going to lose this game or St. Louis is going to win this game. I can tell you that I am a big fan of tight end Jared Cook. I think that Darrell Richardson will have a decent day. I'm expecting a tenacious pass rush from the Rams. I think Romo's going to be having a lot of dirt in his face mask. I like St. Louis. St. Louis.
Alright, I think that Dez Bryant is going to continue what he did last week after he got off to a poor start in Week 1 against the Giants. Week 2, he put up a really good performance, and I think he's just going to continue that for the rest of the year. I think he's going to continue what he did at the end of last year.
He was fantastic last week, though, and they still lost. So apparently,
they did still lose. But I think also this Dallas offense is looking a lot better, because their passing game, it's really you choose. Week 1, it was Jason Witten doing really well. Week 2, it's Dez Bryant. They don't really have much, and DeMarco Murray is looking better than I thought he would.
I like the Rams' defense, and I think that Tony Romo just makes too many mistakes, so I'm going St. Louis.
All right.
And we're going to move on to the second game, and I'm going to try and do this without bias. This is the Green Bay Packers visiting the Cincinnati Bengals. Dario, what are your thoughts on this?
This game, I have the Packers winning this game, but the team that should win this game based on talent and based on what they should be doing is the Cincinnati Bengals. They're a better team, but they're just not producing.
Time out. The Cincinnati Bengals are a better team than the Green Bay Packers.
Overall, yeah, far better.
Do tell. Far better. Do tell.
They're far better. First of all, the Green Bay Packers defense is atrocious, alright? The Cincinnati Bengals defense has the talent to be like, maybe even this like third best defense in the league, right?
That's a stretch, but continue.
I mean, who's better?
Who's better?
You got the Seahawks and Niners, and then you have the Bengals with talent. I mean, Geno Atkins is legit.
The Bears?
The secondary is pretty good, and the linebacking core is decent enough to hold the rest together.
Are we just going to ignore the Chicago Bears here?
I think the Bengals defense is better than the Bears defense.
That's not what happened in Week 1.
Talent-wise, I'm talking the Bengals aren't going to win this game, but that's largely because the Bengals haven't been producing nearly as much as they should be. They were expected to be a big team this year, high hopes for everyone. You even had them in the AFC Championship game at the beginning.
Which I am glad that I came to my senses, because I couldn't say the words, New England will beat Cincinnati in the playoffs. I couldn't say it. I just didn't have it in me. And Dalton Pepper over here has proven me right.
New England in the playoffs might even be a stretch, by the way.
Okay. We'll get to that later, Dario.
Alright, it's the way they're looking. But yeah, I think the Packers will win this game based on execution, and they've been there before. They're a more experienced team, and Aaron Rodgers is just too good of a player to lose to this kind of team that's not really doing what it should be.
Green Bay and Cincinnati have a weird, I'm not going to say rivalry, but there's been some chippiness over the past few games they've played against each other. You remember a few years back, a Bengals fan rushed onto the field and took the ball away from Brett Favre and ran away. By the way, those security guards can hit, man. But who else can hit is Geno Atkins. I think the Packers are going to win this game comfortably. I'm going to say 34-24. But that all changes if Geno Atkins can penetrate this offensive line, because the Packers' offensive line, you know what I like to call it. I call them the floodgates, because they sort of just stand there for 2 seconds and they let everybody through. If Geno Atkins can get enough pressure on Aaron Rodgers, it doesn't matter how talented he is if he can't throw the ball. That's the way the Bengals will win this game, but I just don't see this happening. Packers win, X Factor's Atkins. Who's your X Factor on this one?
My X Factor will also be probably Geno Atkins. You know, I'm a Geno Atkins fan. You know, I told you he will give Tom Brady nightmares about his nightmares about Bernard Pollard. But yeah, I think if Geno Atkins does what he's supposed to do, you know, it'll be a very different game. But he hasn't been doing what he's supposed to do the past few weeks.
Yeah. But one last point, by the way. Packers have a pretty strong receiving core. You know, it's just too tough to...
Randall Cobb is quite good.
It's just...
Heard about that guy?
Yeah, it's just too tough to pick against Rodgers. I'm not having a fantasy argument right now. I'm not up for it. The Titans and the Chargers. This is an interesting game for sure.
This game to me is kind of a crapshoot. It's like these two, you don't know what you're going to get out of either of these two teams. I ended up picking the Chargers just because of what they did last week. They looked pretty good.
I am confident that the Tennessee Titans will win this game. Maybe even too confident. According to this, team rankings has them winning 22-21. Number Fire has them winning 21-20. The Titans winning. Here's why I like Tennessee. The Titans have been the most pleasant surprise of the season thus far. Would you agree?
No, disagree.
Who?
Oakland Raiders are the best.
No. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see what surprise they give on Monday night. And then
that's unfair. They're going up against possibly the best team in the league.
But no, the Seahawks are the best team in the league. We've been over this.
Yeah, I guess so. Second best team in the AFC.
Fine. Alright, but back on topic. I mean, San Diego has proven to me that they cannot come through in the clutch unless they are playing the lowest of the low in terms of defense. It's a weird thing to say, because Tennessee did blow a big lead last week. But when you are coming off a loss like that, you are so bitter This is a perfect matchup for the Titans. And I think CJ2K can have a big day. The real CJ2K has a... CJ Spiller does not look like he's going to be able to attain that nickname this year, on the contrary to what you think.
I'm still hopeful.
And Phillip Rivers always finds a way to throw an interception. So,
Correct.
Titans win and Chargers lose.
Alright. I think there's not that much debating that can be done about this game, because it's really just whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, I agree, but there's a lot to talk about in this game. Not in terms of debating, but just because, there's a big storyline coming into this, especially in terms of running backs, or the lack thereof, for one team. The Minnesota Vikings hosted the Cleveland Browns. We'll get to Cleveland after this, because we seriously need to discuss what on earth the Browns are thinking. But with
I'm excited for that debate. It will be a debate.
Okay, whatever you say. Minnesota 23, Cleveland 18, according to team rankings, and according to Number Fire, 28-16 in favor of Minnesota. If you ask me, this is going to be an absolute blowout. Minnesota is going to crush Cleveland at the final score. Well, not a huge blowout, but Cleveland's just not going to be able to score. Don't count on Wilson McGahee. Don't count on Brandon Weeden. I'm going to give you a trivia question about the Browns later on in the show, because I like to give every guest one trivia question, see how they do. And this is a tough one regarding the Browns, but 30-3, the Vikings will win.
Vikings are a far better team. It's not even.
Yeah.
I mean, the Browns just can't score, and then AP's going to do what he's going to do. And that Vikings offense is just a little better than what people give them credit for.
Yeah, this is especially not going to be a close game now that Trent Richardson's gone. Vikings are definitely going to crush them. But my other thing is, they're just passing the ball too much with Brandon Weeden. Look, that's like having the Vikings be a pass-heavy offense.
Yes. I think we're going to get to that in terms of what the Browns were thinking getting rid of Trent Richardson, but, that's Norv Turner. That's your offensive coordinator. You're going to throw the ball a lot.
Yeah, and that means it's going to get intercepted a lot, especially if Phillip Rivers is throwing or Brandon Weeden is throwing. Although, again, I do like tight end Jordan Cameron. Now it's time for a lively discussion, but I'm feeling it's going to turn a lot more into hell on earth sort of debate. What is Cleveland thinking? Dario thinks that they actually are thinking. I believe that their brains have now become hollow. So, Dario.
Alright. So, while I'm going to be honest, I don't hate the trade for the Cleveland Browns. I understand where they're coming from because, let me explain myself. Because it needs a lot of explaining.
Yeah, no kidding.
So the Cleveland Browns, this is a new regime in the Cleveland Browns, right? The owner and the GM, I believe, are both different. It's just a completely different era for the Cleveland Browns. And they are not the ones that drafted Trent Richardson and Brandon Weeden. Alright? Now, I guess when they came in, they didn't really like Trent Richardson. And I don't know if you heard, but when Trent Richardson was drafted, Jim Brown said he was an average talent and that he wasn't anything special. And I don't think Jim Brown has any reason to be jealous of Trent Richardson, so he was definitely speaking his mind there. Trent Richardson is a good player, but the Cleveland Browns are looking at an incredibly deep 2014 draft class that has it's going to have some obvious stars in the beginning, but there are going to be a lot of diamonds in the rough later on in rounds. Obviously, there's the biggest X factor in the entire draft,
Okay. Can I just...
Johnny Manziel.
Okay, first, we have to talk about this. But first, let me tell you the logic that you were giving me.
Yes.
The Cleveland Browns are a homeless person. They will refuse to accept $1 from a passerby in hopes that somebody else, somewhere in the distance, will give them $5. The Cleveland Browns are not in the right spot to take risks with their best player on the team. Trent Richardson has proven himself. Johnny Manziel has not proven himself. Nobody in the draft class has proven themselves to be able to be talented in the NFL. But Richardson's already done that. Richardson's already a step ahead of everybody. And if like you said, if the
people are thinking Trent Richardson is a god now.
I don't think he's a god, but you know what? For Cleveland, he pretty much is. Look at the team. And you said yourself that you said yourself that the Indianapolis Colts would make the playoffs, which means you have just traded away Trent Richardson for a pick that is 23rd at best. I don't care how deep this draft class is. If you're telling me that the 23rd first round draft, that the 23rd draft pick is going to be better than Trent Richardson, then I should pay you right now.
Then you should what?
Pay you. Compensation.
I understand. I think that 23rd pick just might have way more. Because Trent Richardson is not going to be a top 3 running back in this league ever.
The Browns don't need a top 3 running back. They need a
He's
top 31 running back.
In this league ever.
They just need a top 31 running back at this point. That's how bad Cleveland is.
I understand, but they just want to rebuild, and they didn't like Trent Richardson. Whatever it was about him, they didn't like it. And now they have, 2 first-rounders, a second-rounder, and 2 third and 2 fourth-rounders. They're going to completely rebuild the team in this draft. They might also, have you considered this? One possible option. Maybe the Cleveland Browns wanted to do extremely badly this year, because they have their eyes on one Jadeveon Clowney, or one Teddy Bridgewater, or one whoever. Maybe the Cleveland Browns wanted to get rid of their one good player for what they could get, which was another first-round draft pick, which is quite beneficial, in order to ensure, they've basically ensured that they have at least a top 5 pick, if not a top 3 pick.
If the Cleveland Browns knew how to draft players and knew how to rebuild, then they would be elite at this point. But it's bad year after bad year, draft pick after draft pick wasted. If they'd proved that they could draft, then we wouldn't have this problem. But clearly they can't. I've lost all faith in them, and so has the city of Cleveland.
Alright. Doesn't take much drafting knowledge to know that you should pick Jadeveon Clowney.
It doesn't take much drafting knowledge to know that you should not pick Johnny Manziel, but clearly you think otherwise. Now, before I start screaming about Johnny Manziel, we have to move on. Otherwise, I'm going to miss the Bruins play the Lobos, and I don't want to miss that. Or do I? Just kidding. I got to be there to support my team. First home game with since Nick Pasquale's passing, it's going to be emotional. Speaking of emotional, now you've got 2 teams at complete opposite ends of the spectrum. One team that has played so badly yet somehow has won, and another team that has played just as badly and has found ways to inexplicably lose. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers play the New England Patriots.
Yes.
What do you see for this one?
What do I see in this game?
What do you see?
I don't really see enough. I don't know about this game. New England's, if Rob Gronkowski comes back this game, which I'm not too sure that he will, but if he does, I think New England will most likely win this game. If he doesn't, the issue becomes that no one, with the exception of Julian Edelman, can actually catch a pass.
Danny Amendola.
Is he playing? I think he's doubtful.
I'm looking at this right now for team injuries, and I don't see Danny Amendola's name listed anywhere. I'll get right on that. But continue on.
I believe he is doubtful. If Danny Amendola's back, then that's also a different story. But if he's not, and if neither of those 2 guys come back, I think it's possible that this underrated Tampa Bay defense does well.
Have you seen how many mistakes they've made, though? Over 100 penalty yards last year.
Yeah, that's what they need to cut down on. They also need to cut down on Greg Schiano, but that's a different story.
Oh, amen. Listen, we finally agree on something. This team is as dysfunctional as the Kardashians right now. They are the Kardashians of the NFL. They would be perfect for Hard Knocks next year. I think Tampa Bay is not fired Greg Schiano yet because they want money and being able to go on Hard Knocks next year. Because it'll just be like Kim Kardashian without the, annoying boyfriends and drug addict boyfriends and the divorces and whatever. But you were right, Amendola is doubtful. So who is your pick?
This game?
Yes. Who is your pick?
I've picked New England.
I can say with confidence that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will win this game.
Oh.
Even if Amendola was playing. Even if the Patriots were playing better. Because I have learned my lesson. And I don't know why nobody else has either. Week 3 is cursed for the Patriots. The same Week 3 game last year, remember, against the Arizona Cardinals? In New England, that there was no way they were supposed to lose. And yet, Arizona tried to give the game to them. They fumbled on some sort of a kneel. And New England still couldn't win the game. The year before, New England, in Buffalo, that Buffalo restaurant offered to give... Buffalo car dealership offered to sell free cars if Buffalo won this game. A week later, I believe that dealership went out of business because Buffalo was able to win against New England. In Week 3, New England does not come through, no matter how well they're playing. Especially now with Tampa Bay, the way they've been playing, they're going to be bitter. They are going to be so bitter, they're going to be so ready. Chiano's going to be fired up. Freeman better be ready for his close-up.
Don't forget Doug Martin.
Oh, we might be able to forget about Doug Martin, and the Buccaneers still would be able to win, because I've liked the Patriots' run defense. Even if Doug Martin does not produce, the Buccaneers will still win. Because
But
the number
Doug
one
Martin
thing they'll
will
be focusing
produce.
on, and Martin will perform, but even if he doesn't, the Buccaneers would still win this game.
Right.
I like Tampa. Alright, moving on. Cardinals Saints, not really a huge matchup worth our time. But we like to give attention to all teams. We treat all as equals because that's how we roll in Rookies Roundup.
Can you give me 1 second, please?
Yes?
Right.
Alright. So, while Dario takes a quick leap, let's talk about Johnny Manziel. Because, listeners, you know how I feel about Johnny Manziel. He's just fantastically annoying to me. If this was me, if this was my team, if I was the Cleveland Browns, I would never even consider selecting Johnny Manziel in the draft. This happens every time. Two guys who cannot get things together off the field. It creates a distraction. It creates a fiasco. It creates unwanted attention. It just
All right.
Alright,
I'm back.
Dario, you're back. Kind of glad you left for a little bit there because it gave me time to rant about Manziel. So now, Cardinals Saints.
Yes.
Who you pick?
My pick. I picked the Saints in this game. But, yeah, I think Sean Payton and Drew Brees back together, they're going to do some serious damage this year. And I think they'll just outscore the Cardinals. But I will say, I really do like this Cardinals team. This defense, Tyrann Mathieu has proven to be very good, very useful, a big playmaker on defense, in addition to Patrick Peterson, who's also an offensive threat these days. And Carson Palmer and Larry Fitzgerald will be okay.
Okay. The Arizona Cardinals. I don't know why they're getting such credit from now. I don't know what they did. They have not proven much to me. Yeah, they beat Detroit, but, it's Detroit. The Saints' defense is stepping up. Without Will Smith, this is incredible. This could be a historic season for the Saints, one of the greatest comebacks in the history of all of sports. Now, that's not going to happen. I don't see them getting past the first round, but it's possible. If their defense continues to perform like this, it is very possible. Blowout game. Don't watch it. You've got so much better stuff to watch if you have a Sunday ticket. If not, you're stuck with cable. Hopefully they don't show the Saints and Cardinals nationally. I doubt they will. Moving on, Lions-Redskins. these two teams are kind of in familiar territory here. What do you think?
I have the Lions winning this game.
Wrong. Try again.
No, I'm very right.
Okay. Why are you right?
Why am I right?
Why are you right?
Because, alright, week 1, this Lions team looked very good. Alright, Calvin Johnson didn't look very good, but the team looked good. The rest of the team did, and Reggie Bush looked good. Now, is Reggie Bush going to play? I don't know. But if not, Troy Bell is also very good. See, what they did in week 1 without Megatron producing, can you imagine what they do with Megatron producing and everyone else producing at the same level? That pass rush is very good with Ndamukong Suh.
I can't imagine what happened.
I like this play style. I like the dirty play. I'm a fan of it.
Well, next time Ndamukong Suh stomps on one of your players' midsection, tell me how you feel about dirty play. He's just not.
I'm fine if it's an offensive lineman.
Oh, listen, you take your offensive line for granted. Try being a Packers fan, okay? Try having floodgates for offensive line, and now one of them has been sterilized by some monster from Nebraska. You had an offensive lineman sterilized by Ndamukong Suh.
Literally floodgates last year. I think they held up for even less than 2 seconds.
No.
That Eagles line last year was terrible.
I will agree with you there. Now, but here's why you're wrong. I'm going with Washington, and I don't know why I'm so confident about this, because I shouldn't be. By the way, Team Rankings has them winning 25-24. Number Fire has them winning 24.4 to 23.5. If the Redskins receiving corps can step up, I absolutely love the potential of Pierre Garçon and Leonard Hankerson this week. If those two can step up, even if Griffin has a mediocre game, it's enough because Detroit's defense, at least their secondary, is brittle. It has always been brittle. And maybe their front seven's good, but if RG3 can just throw one or two deep passes to Pierre Garçon that result in receptions, this is Washington's game. I still don't trust Detroit's defense. Washington comes back home, they're going to be hungry.
Let me educate you.
Oh, you need to educate me. Okay.
RG3 has been atrocious his first 2 games. He's not been good at all, whatsoever. And now what we're seeing from defenses that are playing RG3, which they never used to do before, is they're blitzing him. They're blitzing him often, and they're blitzing him with a couple of guys. And when they're blitzing him, now that he's not running around, and now that he has this mental block about running, he is getting absolutely abused. Teams, especially a team like the Detroit Lions with the pass rush that they have.
That is a very fair assumption. Okay.
Can you imagine? I don't think RG3 is mentally healthy enough to try and run when Ndamukong Suh.
I 1,000% agree with you. As soon as Suh sacks RG3 twice in the first quarter, they will take him out. They will put in Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins will defeat the Detroit Lions. That is my prediction. Because this is the game.
Kirk Cousins is going to play.
Yes, this is the game that RG3 proves that he is not ready to come back yet. And there is no better team to prove that than the Detroit Lions. I completely agree. And this is a blessing in disguise. Because then Kirk Cousins gets to come in, and the Redskins will be saved for a couple of weeks. So, yeah, we went into detail with that last week. So I think we're going to skip that because we do have a schedule to run here at Rookies Roundup, and we like to stay organized because we're cool like that.
Right.
So, another good game.
Can you give me one more second?
I will give you one more
second.
second.
Continue ranting about Manziel.
Oh, of course. Thank you. Johnny Manziel is immature. He is not ready for the big stage. Players that create distractions off the field are nothing but trouble. It happens all the time. Why do you think Aaron Hernandez went in the 3rd, 4th round? Because he proved that he was not mature enough. When meetings with scouts, And you see where he is now? Jail. Now, I'm not saying Johnny Manziel's going to end up in jail or murder somebody twice. But I am saying that off-the-field issues are issues that are worth our time. Now, continuing on, let's get you some more college football news. Number 1, Alabama started playing their game against the Colorado State Rams, and they lead 14-0. In the only game that features 2 ranked teams playing, it's a Pac-12 battle. Number 5, Stanford, and number 23, Arizona State. And in the farm in Palo Alto, the Cardinals are leading the Sun Devils at the score of 19-0 with an extra point pending. Anthony Wilkerson just rushed 12 yards for a touchdown. It is 19-0, and now it is 20-0. The extra point is good. Number 6, LSU plays host to Auburn. All the odds are stacked up against Marshall, starting his first game at quarterback with Auburn. It is going to be very wet in the Big Muddy. I will be shocked if he can win in Death Valley, but 12:39 to go in the first. We've just started. There's no score between the 6th-ranked Tigers hosting the Auburn Tigers. Both Tigers. LSU Tigers number 6, unranked Auburn Tigers. No score. The Auburn Tigers are driving. It's 3rd and 7 right now at LSU's 47-yard line. Number 19, Florida defeated Tennessee. The final score 31-17. The Volunteers put up a surprisingly good fight, but it was not enough. Thank goodness I can't stand talking about the SEC football anymore. Dario, are you ready?
Yes.
Dario's a busy guy, he has calls and other important stuff to do.
Yeah,
All in a day's work. Yes, thank you for creating some time for us in your very busy schedule, for being on Rookies Roundup. We appreciate it. Would also be appreciative? Baltimore, if they were able to get a win over Houston at home, which I think will happen. Dario, I'm assuming you think I am very wrong. Please tell me why.
Because Ray Rice isn't playing.
Okay, anything else?
Ray Rice is the Baltimore offense, or what's left of it.
That's it.
The Texans D is going to abuse them, and they will have no answer. They will get rocked by the Houston Texans.
All right. Interesting. Very interesting. I've been very tough on Baltimore. I have no problem admitting that. They are still the defending Super Bowl champions, and they still know how to perform when they need to. They've got the ball. Wait.
This is not the same team that played.
The Ravens have gotten the ball rolling with an ugly win over the Browns. Houston has proven not once but twice that it takes a lot for them to win against mediocre teams. This falls perfectly for Baltimore. Terrell Suggs is going to be a nightmare for Matt Schaub and Houston. An absolute nightmare. So, with Suggs on a very tenacious pass rush, I think pass rush is really going to determine who wins games this week. And the same goes here. Although I do like DeAndre Hopkins, I just have a feeling Baltimore's going to win this game. These are the sort of games that the Ravens excel at the most. Continuamos, as they would say in Espanol. Giants, Panthers. You're an NFC East guy. Giants, okay.
I did pick the Giants. I think that this Carolina front seven is no joke. Their secondary is quite questionable, and I think Eli Manning will just go to town on picking apart that Carolina secondary, and Victor Cruz will come out with a big game as he is clearly their number one wideout, and that combo will just be too much for the Carolina defense to handle. And you have Cam Newton's issues.
I think this is a crapshoot, but I think Carolina's going to win. because of the way they lost last week. That is a painful way to lose. When you have a young team, motivation and losing can be your best friend. They're going to be pumped to play against a New York team who's proven that they are sloppy, that they turn the ball over, and that their defense is not good enough. So no matter how many issues Cam Newton has, Cam Newton can still pick this defense apart as well, and that's actually what is going to happen. A sloppy game and a sloppy win, but a win nonetheless.
I'm going to... I agree with what you said about the motivation, and I think that is going to hurt Cam Newton. Because Cam Newton is going to run out there trying too hard to make that play that he always tries to do, and that he inevitably ends up turning the ball over and then going and sulking on the sideline with a towel over his head.
So you're going to say you think he tries too hard?
He tries. He's going to want it too bad, and he's going to make stupid, dumb decisions that will cost him.
You heard it here first on episode 9 of Rookies Roundup. Cam Newton is the Beyonce of the NFL.
Tries too hard.
He tries too hard. Let me tell you.
Okay.
And a Pepsi's not going to fix that, by the way. Yeah, I just think the motivation is there. I think Cam Newton is going to come through because the Giants' defense is so good at letting you score. Now, the NFC East, speaking of complete crapshoots, I mean, you're an NFC East guy. Who is winning this division?
You know, this is tough. I'll tell you who it's not going to be.
The Cowboys.
It's not going to be the Washington Redskins. And it is not going to be the New York Giants.
Oh my God. You think the Dallas Cowboys have a chance?
I think it's between the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia
Oh
Eagles.
my God. Dario, has Tony Romo taught you nothing?
I think he has taught me enough, but I think this division, which used to be oh so strong, is now looking to be oh so weak.
The weakest division in the NFL, where mediocrity holds sway. The NFC East. Just because everybody...
the best division in the NFL.
They were never the best division in the NFL. Just because everybody finishes with close to the same record does not mean they're the best division. That means they're all equally mediocre. So, they were a smack dab in the middle average.
I think it might be Philadelphia if they can turn things around and not turn the ball over enough. I think Philadelphia still can finish 9-7, which is what I thought they would finish. And I think the Dallas Cowboys just might finish 10-6.
Oh my God.
Finished 9-7 last year, didn't they?
They finished 9-7. Tony Romo's already playing like it's December and it's only September. I'm going to say, and I don't... Despite an 0-3 start, the New York Giants are going to win this division. Because of the 4 quarterbacks in this division, the 4 teams, there is only one team that has proven to me that they can perform when it matters the most. And that's the New York Giants. It happens every time.
Playoffs. They choked last
October,
year.
November, December. As soon as that snow starts to fall, the football field, the gridiron becomes a winter wonderland for Eli Manning and the New York Giants. So I'm going to take the Giants. You're going to take the Eagles. I could very easily see the Eagles winning this division. It's a close call for me. But Eli Manning, I don't know. I think I still like Coughlin and the Giants. Now, we are pressed for time. And we were going to do a commercial. But instead, you know what we're going to do? We're going to keep talking about football. And Dario, it is time for your trivia question. Are you ready?
If it's about the Cleveland Browns, I probably won't be able to answer.
I'm not expecting. Alright. It's 2 parts.
Right.
First, including Brett Hoyer, I think his name is Brett Hoyer, who is going to start week 3. How many quarterbacks have started for the Browns since 1999? Don't look this up. Just
Alright,
guess.
let me think this. Let me think about this. Alright,
Yep.
1999.
Yeah.
It's gonna be some ridiculous number. So, is it ridiculous?
I'm giving you 5 seconds to guess.
All right.
5.
9.
How about 18? 18 starting quarterbacks for the Cleveland Browns. You want to talk about a successful draft? Please.
Manziel would be 19.
Oh, my God. And that would make a very quick 20th. So now, the second part of this trivia question, since there are so many to choose from. In 60 seconds, when I start this clock, just to make sure that you don't look up the answers or anything, you're going to name 6 of those 18 Browns quarterbacks. You had 60 seconds, and those 60 seconds start. Dario, are you looking these up?
No.
They start now. Go.
All right. You have Brandon Whedon. Before him, you have Brian Hoyer. You have Jason Campbell, I believe.
No.
Who did they have before that? Did they ever start Seneca Wallace?
Yes, they did. That's 3.
Brady Quinn.
Brady Quinn, 4.
There was one guy. Bruce Gradkowski.
Yes. That's 5. You need one more. 30 seconds.
Colt McCoy.
6. Keep going. I underestimated you. Keep going.
Okay, other than that,
In your opinion, the worst Super Bowl quarterback of all time?
What?
Who is, in your opinion, the worst Super Bowl quarterback of all time?
Trent Dilfer.
7.
Alright.
8 seconds.
Otto Graham.
No, 99, man.
Oh, yeah.
3, 2, 1. You get one last guess.
Kelly Holcomb.
Did you look that one up?
No.
Okay, I said Ant, but that was so impressive, I will give it to you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 18. Impressive. Here you go. Couch, Detmer, Wynn, Pedersen, Holcomb, McCown, Garcia, Dilfer, Fry, Dorsey, Gradkowski, Anderson, Quinn, Delhomme, Wallace, McCoy, Whedon, and Hoyer. Jake Delhomme of the days when there were no issues for the Carolina Panthers. Now, enough with the many broken dreams of Cleveland Browns would-be quarterbacks. Let's keep going to the afternoon games. The Falcons play the Dolphins, and this is a really good one. Dar, are you there? Hello? Oh, God. So, it seems that the Cleveland curse affects even us, too. So it turns out that we just blacked out for a little bit. So, in case you didn't hear, the 18 Browns quarterbacks were Couch, Detmer, Wynn, Pedersen, Holcomb, McCown, Garcia, Dilfer, Fry, Dorsey, Gradkowski, Anderson, Quinn, Delhomme, Wallace, McCoy, Whedon, and Hoyer. Dario got 8 out of those 18. I'm going to try and contact him again. I think Skype was just getting weird, man. You know, I jinxed it at the beginning of the show. I swear to you guys, I might be bad luck. Maybe, no. I'm not bad luck. It's just, whatever. Maybe I'll just call Dario on the phone. Be old-fashioned like that. Let's call him up. So while we are waiting to contact him, yeah. I mean, you guys know how I feel about Manziel. Teddy Bridgewater or Taj Boyd is an interesting debate. Comment below what you think with Bridgewater or Boyd. I am a fan of Teddy Bridgewater over Taj Boyd, but not by much. If I could pick someone to be my quarterback, it would certainly be Bridgewater. I'm trying to reach Dario. Hey, sorry, I think just we lost the connection a little bit. Is it okay if you just continue the rest of this over the phone?
Yeah, sure.
Alright, so Falcons Dolphins. The Atlanta Falcons and the Miami Dolphins.
I know, I'm going to guess you have the Dolphins winning this game.
I do not.
Oh, alright, then we agree. I have the Falcons winning this game.
Wait, do I or do I not? Oh, this was such a tough one for me. I want to say I ended up picking Atlanta. I think I picked Atlanta this one. This is such a tough one for me. Let me look this up because I have this up right now on my computer. Who did I pick this week between Atlanta and Miami? Because I think my thinking was something along the lines of weak offensive line, Cameron Wake might be able to tear them apart, but it's still not going to be enough.
Alright.
You feel?
Yeah, I feel.
I think when the Falcons' offense is able to turn on, they go all or nothing. And I think Miami's still too young of a team. They haven't proven themselves yet. And
Yeah.
oh wait, okay. So according to this, I picked the Dolphins. Oh, you're right. Yeah, no, I did pick the Dolphins. I remember why. Because I wasn't loving the secondary, and I didn't like the offensive line. And I believe that I think that Hartline and Wallace are both going to be able to have big days in Miami. This is weird, man. I don't know. I might change that to the Falcons.
Be consistent, Jake. Be consistent.
You know what?
Alright, I think that's enough on this game, in my opinion. I'm not interested in it.
No, I agree. You know, let's just keep that to those in the Southeast. Although I don't know how much you want to talk about this next one. The Bills and the Jets.
The Bills winning that one. The Jets just terrible.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, not much more needs to be said. The Jets' defense, I guess, is sort of good, but that's only because the teams they play find a way to make mistakes, and I don't think the Bills are going to do that. Me and you both agree. Buffalo, really no explanation needed that much. How about the Colts and the Niners?
I think the Niners are just a superior team. I think they're going to make up for what they did last week, and I don't think but the Colts defense is just atrocious. I don't think they can beat that. I don't think they can.
It's not atrocious, but I like the Niners in this one. I think it's a.
I think the Colts will do much better with T-Rich, but they're not that much better.
Yeah, I don't think it's just good. It's going to be enough after the beating the Niners took. You want to talk about motivation? I mean, you're looking right at. I mean, you look up motivation in the dictionary, and here you go. This brings up another debate. Our last one. Does Trent Richardson's fantasy stock go up by being traded to the Colts?
Right. I have an interesting position on this. I think his fantasy stock stays the same because I think the two things that will be happening will offset each other. Yes, he will have many more times when they're 250 deep. He'll have much larger running lanes, and he will have a much higher per carry average. The issue is that his carries will go significantly down because you know that this is a pass-heavy offense. Even if they would have the semi-elite option in Trent Richardson, I think he's most definitely not going to break 300 carries. And I think he'll get a few more touchdowns, but he's going to stay at roughly like 1,200 yards rushing and a bunch of touchdowns.
I have 5 words for you that are going to completely refute that argument. Anything is better than Cleveland. The Cleveland sports is cursed. Everybody who is part of that community is cursed. The last time Cleveland won in any sport, I believe, was the 50s with the Cleveland Indians. The Browns have never won a Super Bowl. The Cavs have never won a finals. If you're not in Cleveland, you are set. Anything is better than Cleveland, especially Indianapolis. I like the offensive line. Even if the carries go down, at least they'll still be good carries.
I'm saying
it's better to get a little bit of something than a whole lot of nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, something really just real quick. Let me do this. Alright, so if it's 4 times. Alright, so I think Trent Richardson will now be averaging somewhere near 4 or so carries.
4?
At yards. No, 4 yards per carry or so.
That's fine.
4.5 maybe.
Okay, he gets 20 carries and 4.5 yards per carry. That's 90 yards. Even if he doesn't get 20, he's going to have one rushing touchdown. I mean, you're not just going to go to luck over and over and over.
I'm going to say 4.2. I'm going to say he's going to finish with like 1,100 or 1,200 yards on the year, just because of the lack of carries.
You know what? I think anything's better than Cleveland. Anything's an improvement. We are
It is
coming.
better than Cleveland.
Okay. Thank you.
The carries. She reached a 300 carry back in Cleveland. You know, like, they just had nothing else.
The key words of that phrase is in Cleveland. You don't find success in Cleveland. We are heading down the home stretch, though. Let's, enough bashing on Cleveland. We have a different city to bash on. How about Jacksonville? So, to keep this interesting, because we all know Seattle's going to win over Jacksonville, how about the spread? I've never seen a spread like this. I believe Seattle is the 19-point favorite. Will Seattle cover the spread or not?
I think Seattle will do more than cover the spread. I think 19 is a little conservative for this game, because you have the classic best team in the NFL versus by far the worst team in the NFL.
Cleveland is the worst team in the NFL. Anything is better than Cleveland, and that's been proven to be true.
Fair. Cleveland lost to Rich. I'd forgotten the ramifications of Cleveland losing Trent Richardson. Actually, no, I still think Cleveland's defense is decent. You have Joe Hayden, who's a decent defensive. He's a very good quarterback. The Jaguars, I think they're just...
We're just going to ignore Cecil Shorts. I mean, it's a team that's... I don't think they're the worst. I think the Browns are still the worst. I actually do not think Seattle is going to cover the spread. And here's why. The Seahawks are coming off a huge win. Then they play Jacksonville. There is no sense of urgency. The Jaguars will be hungry. Normally that means a win, but this is still Seattle-Jacksonville. I think that Henny has the potential to have a good game if MJD can have a decent game and Cecil Shorts can get a couple touchdowns. We could see this game being closer than most people think. So I actually think they will not cover the spread and Jacksonville will win. Sunday night football time. It is the definition of black and blue football. Ground and pounded. This is your grandfather's football. It's the Bears and the Steel Nation. Chicago and Pittsburgh. In Pittsburgh, the Bears are 2-0. Steelers are 0-2. Who gets the W, Dario?
I don't think this should even be a question. I think the Chicago Bears are going to wipe the floor with the Steelers, and the Steelers will be looking black and blue.
Oh, I love that. I absolutely love that. I hate seeing the Bears win, and I hate even more having faith in the Bears, but, Ben Roethlisberger hasn't really given me any reason to do otherwise. The Bears...
In my opinion, actually, this is the game I'm the second most sure about.
Really?
After the Jaguars-Seahawks game, I think that the Steelers' offense is that bad, and that their defense is just nothing more than mediocre. I think the Raiders have just the tiniest chance in the world of beating the Broncos, but there's more of a chance there than there is for the Steelers.
I'm going to disagree. So, Monday night predictions. Again, to keep it interesting, because we both know Denver is going to win this game. How many points will Denver score?
In that game? I think I have them scoring like 38.
42. Although Pryor could have a decent game. I like No Sean Marino. Another fantasy starter this week, guys. Noshawn Marina. And if Jordan Cameron's still out there too, tight end for the Browns, pick him up because Brandon Wheaton has nobody else to pass to on that.
I have a better fantasy pickup.
Who?
I say, if this guy is available in your league, pick him up immediately.
And that is?
Julian Edelman.
Yes. I completely agree. Edelman, because now that Amendola's hurt, again, Brady's got no one else really to throw to.
Amendola's perpetually hurt.
Oof, perpetually.
And Amendola is hurt morning, day, and night.
Alright. A little harsh, but...
This guy, Julian Edelman, is the one guy that they can ever be sure of on that team. Even more so than the other injury-prone player on that team, which is Rob Gronkowski.
Of course. Alright, man. That is
I would like very much, I know you're a little busy, but I want to talk about the Oakland Raiders.
Do you want to talk? Then we can talk about the Oakland Raiders. We are an accommodating people here at Rookies Roundup. If you want to talk about the Raiders, we will talk about the Raiders. What do you have to say about the Oakland Raiders?
Alright, I have a bold prediction.
Let's hear it.
I don't know how bold it is in your eyes, but I think it's pretty bold based on what most people think of the Oakland Raiders. I say the Oakland Raiders are going to go 6-10. At least. Most likely 6-10.
5-11, 6-10. It could happen. I like what Pryor's doing. I'm sorry not to make you sound bold. I think a lot of... if it's...
might even... I have to look at the schedule. Let me look at the Raiders' schedule. But if I'm going to say... Alright, they played the Jaguars, they won. So they're 1-1 right now. I'd say they're better than the Chargers. They're going to beat the Chargers twice this year.
Twice.
The schedule is super favorable, but I can see them. There are how many games? They have 1-1. There's 1. There's 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, the schedule doesn't really allow for it that much for them to do that well. But maybe I could see them going at least 6-10. They can beat the Redskins when they play them in a few weeks. They'll beat the Chargers twice. Oh, actually, I didn't talk the Steelers. All right, I see them going 7-9.
I think you're being a little too generous now. 5-11, 6-10 is fair.
7. They're 1-1 right now. They're going to lose to the Broncos. They're going to beat the Redskins, and that's when people are going to know they're legit. Then they're going to beat the Chargers.
7-9 is not legit by any means in the NFL.
I understand. No, well, compared to what the Oakland Raiders were before, that is very legit. 7-9 basically means you're just not a scrub team. You're not the Tennessee Titans. You are not the San Diego Chargers, and you are most certainly not the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Wait, the Titans aren't scrub. Tennessee, listen, Tennessee has the ability to make the playoffs. It's not going to happen, but I'm liking the Titans.
Don't even.
All right. One last impromptu debate about the Tennessee Titans because they deserve attention. What is your opposition to the Titans?
What is my what?
What is your opposition to the Titans? What don't you like about them?
What don't I like about them?
Yeah.
Terrible.
Terrible.
TJ 2K has not been himself since that 2K year, right? Or maybe he has been himself and he wasn't himself that year. I'd say he hasn't been looking good at all this year. They're just, the defense is suspect. The passing game, I don't even know who their quarterback is. Is it Jake Walker now?
It's Look, how can you say that this team is trash if you don't even know what their quarterback is?
Because I know it's not good. It's either Jake Walker or Matt Hasselbeck or whoever they had.
It's Locker. I'm saying what we have seen the past 2 weeks is impressive. That their defense is good enough, and they came pretty darn close to beating Houston. So, I'm saying the Titans could hypothetically be a playoff team.
Okay, well,
Dario?
Hello?
Yeah? Go ahead. Dario?
Hello?
Yeah. Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah. I couldn't hear you before.
Alright. Anyway, so we've done 16 games. We've had our debates. We've had our disagreements. Plenty of them. We've had our fantasy tips. You have been great for the first time on the show. You will definitely be invited back to Rookies Roundup. You are welcome anytime, especially for giving an hour of your time on a Saturday. Really appreciate it. Any closing statements, Dario?
I don't know what Jake told any of you about Johnny Manziel, but I think he is worth a second-round pick for any team that has quarterback issues. And I think he's worth a second-round pick to my Philadelphia Eagles, who could use him very much because he would be good in Chip Kelly's scheme.
Dario, the Philadelphia Eagles are not Plaxico Burress. Don't tell them to shoot themselves in the foot like that.
I don't know. I think if he doesn't pan out, we'll just drop him. He'll be on a zero-tolerance policy.
Oh, yeah, you think Johnny Manziel cares about a zero-tolerance policy? Please. He thinks that
I think
he is the king.
After he's out of college, you will be surprised, and he is an immense talent.
He's not going to handle it in Philadelphia. He's going to break down. Okay, and what about Matt Barkley? Don't you guys already have Matt Barkley? Like, what are we doing here? I mean,
Matt Barkley can't run Chip Kelly's system, though.
You have got Nick Sunshine Foles.
I hate him.
You've got Matt Barkley, who you've already tried to invest in a little bit, and then you've got
Matt Barkley's good. Matt Barkley's good, but he's not for the Eagles.
And you have Michael Vick, who is, no pun intended,
Turnover machine.
top dog on that team. So
Maybe, out of
okay.
curiosity, what do
Okay.
you think about this system?
Draft
Johnny Manziel in the second round next year. Have Michael Vick play the entire year.
I want to know what the listeners think. What is a worse idea? Drafting Johnny Manziel or have Michael Vick dog sit? Because those are both accidents waiting
having Michael
to
Vick
happen.
dog sit is a worse idea.
Yeah, I agree, because I'd rather the Eagles die than my dog. So, not the Eagles die, but, like, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Alright.
Eagles are endangered species, Jake. How can you say that?
Okay, well, they are in danger of not making the playoffs this year. I can tell you that, especially for what the Chiefs did to them. Thank you so much, Dario. Hang in there, alright? Alright, thanks.
Bye.
Dario, not bad for a first timer. Not bad at all. I think, besides, it's either me and him or me and Carl disagree more than anybody else. Me and Cameron, we've got our scuffles too, but whatever. We are going to take one more commercial break, and then we will give you the MVP award, the Facepalm award, and the sympathy vote. So stay right with it. By the way, so the music you're about to hear, it is justified in the final segment, so before you make judgments, I promise you, there is a reason. You might know exactly what I'm talking about as soon as you hear it. So, hang in there for a second. We're going to be right back.
Hi, this is Sam Rosen, and I'm here with Sam Situation.
Good afternoon and welcome into the corner. It's Chris's Corner here on Spreaker.com, a national sports affiliate.
Hello and welcome to the Cameron Sadeghi Show.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Deep Sports Talkie. This is affiliated with National Sports.
Cameron Sadeghi, Chris Sylvester, Sam Rosen, Andrew Goldstein, Daniel Levy, and the entire broadcast crew with Commissioner Robert Dieters. You are live from National Sports Radio Station in Los Angeles, California.
on earth would I play Katy Perry? Well, there's a reason for it. A Rookies Roundup tradition. First of all, thank you for joining us. I gotta get going real quick. UCLA and New Mexico State, you know how LA traffic is. If you don't, consider yourselves lucky. Because we gotta get all the way to Pasadena, and that is not fun. Hopefully the Bruins win tonight. They probably should absolutely crush them. But let's go. Rookie Roundup. A tradition, of course. Our awards, the MVP award, the Facepalm award, and our sympathy vote. Let's get right to it. Our MVP goes to, for just the second time, two people. Two hockey players, actually. You know, hockey doesn't get a lot of attention on this show, but it will happen soon, I promise you. As soon as those seasons start up, we will give the hockey players the attention they deserve, but this warranted an early promo for the hockey season. You know, the NFL's not the only people tightening up with some rules. The NHL is also tightening up as well, and this was quite a loophole exposed by these NHL hockey players. So, this is from nextimpulsesports.com, by the way. So, the NHL has enacted a rule that prohibits players from removing their helmets prior to engaging in a fight. What they weren't expecting, though, is what happened in a preseason game between the New York Islanders and the New Jersey Devils. The Islanders enforcer Brett Gallant and the Devils enforcer Chris Barch exposed a complete loophole. Before fighting, they took each other's helmets off. They were just about to throw off the gloves, but they stopped. They kindly took each other's helmets off and then tried to beat each other silly. So, complete loophole exposed, so they'll have to wait another year until they can fix that up. Great job for Gallant and Barch. Now, for the Facepalm Award, I'm about to tell you exactly why we put Katy Perry's Roar right there. So, you probably didn't like that, especially if you were a Cincinnati Bengals fan. You see, just because a song has the words Roar and Champion in it does not mean that you are appropriate for a theme song. According to Deadspin, Bengals fans were so incensed that their team's apparent anthem was a hit Katy Perry song, Roar, they complained and complained until the team reversed its decision. The Bengals, who, according to their team person who's in charge of finances and marketing, quote, the Bengals, who on Monday unveiled Katy Perry's mega hit Roar as a pregame, game, and postgame song at Paul Brown Stadium, said on Friday that the song will no longer be featured as prominently, end quote. So yeah, I guess they're not big fans of Katy Perry. And our sympathy vote has to go to the entire city of Cleveland. It must be really tough to be a sports fan there. So Cleveland, Ohio, you get the sympathy vote. Hang in there. That is the show. Hopefully we get more people to listen in. Tell everybody you possibly can to listen in. Promo for some next episodes. Hopefully we'll be back tomorrow with some rapid reaction. Next week, I'm not so sure if I'll be able to do a show because I have like a debate tournament or something. And then 2 weeks, I'm going to be in Green Bay. Hopefully we'll be able to do a live show from Titletown, USA, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Don't miss it. Thank you for listening. Again, tell everybody, thanks to the National Sports family, thank you to Dario Mattoon, and thank you to the Cleveland Browns for all those quarterbacks. Go Pack Go. We will see you hopefully tomorrow night. Thanks for listening.
Live from Los Angeles, we thank you for listening to another presentation of the National Sports Radio Station on Spreaker.com.